Egypt is significantly increasing its military presence on the border with Israel, a move that has caught the attention of the international community. This is a significant development in the ongoing conflict in the region. It comes amidst heightened tensions following Israel's recent actions in Gaza, which have led to widespread destruction and loss of life. Armored vehicles and troops are being deployed in large numbers, signaling a robust military response. The message is clear: Egypt is ready to act decisively if necessary. This move is a direct response to Israel's recent military operations in Rafah, which have escalated the conflict. It is also a response to the seizure of the Rafah border crossing, a critical point of entry and exit for Gaza. This crossing is vital for the flow of people and goods into Gaza, and its closure has had severe repercussions. Its closure has worsened an already dire humanitarian situation, leaving many without essential supplies and aid. Egypt's President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi has condemned Israel's actions in strong terms, calling for immediate international intervention. He accuses Israel of obstructing ceasefire attempts and undermining peace efforts in the region. He also criticizes them for hindering humanitarian aid delivery, which is crucial for the survival of many in Gaza. This strong stance reflects the gravity of the situation and the urgent need for a resolution. The deployment of troops is a calculated risk, aimed at deterring further aggression and protecting national interest. It is a clear signal to Israel that Egypt will not stand idly by. Egypt is demonstrating its commitment to regional stability and its willingness to take action to maintain it. It is also showing its support for the Palestinian people, who have been severely affected by the ongoing conflict. The international community is watching closely, with many calling for an immediate ceasefire and a return to negotiations. Diplomatic efforts are intensifying, with hopes that a peaceful resolution can be achieved to end the suffering and restore stability to the region. Meanwhile, humanitarian organizations are working tirelessly to provide relief to those in need, despite the many challenges they face. As the situation continues to evolve, Egypt remains on high alert, ready to respond to any further developments. The current crisis is the latest chapter in a long and bitter conflict that has spanned generations and affected countless lives. The Gaza Strip has been a flashpoint for decades, a small piece of land that has seen more than its share of turmoil and bloodshed. It is a densely populated territory, home to nearly 2 million people living in close quarters. It is also geographically small and impoverished, with many of its residents living in dire conditions. Gaza is at the heart of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, a symbol of the broader struggle between two peoples with deep historical ties to the land. Israel occupied Gaza in 1967 during the Six-Day War, a conflict that reshaped the region's political landscape. It withdrew settlers and troops in 2005, a move that was seen as a step towards peace, but also left a power vacuum. However, Israel continues to control Gaza's airspace and coastal waters, maintaining a tight grip on what goes in and out of the territory. It also exerts significant control over its borders, with checkpoints and barriers that restrict movement and trade. Palestinians view this as a form of continued occupation, a daily reminder of their lack of sovereignty. There have been numerous violent confrontations, each one leaving a trail of destruction and loss. Militant groups like Hamas operate in Gaza, wielding significant influence and often clashing with Israeli forces. They fire rockets into Israel, targeting civilian areas and escalating tensions. Israel responds with airstrikes and ground incursions, actions that further inflame the situation. Each cycle of violence deepens the divide, making reconciliation seem ever more distant. It also exacts a heavy toll on civilians, who bear the brunt of the conflict's devastating impact. The root causes of the conflict are complex, involving a tangled web of historical grievances and political disputes. They include disputes over land, resources, and statehood, issues that have proven difficult to resolve. The lack of a political horizon fuels despair and anger, leading many to feel that peace is an unattainable dream. This makes finding a peaceful resolution even more challenging, as each failed negotiation adds to the sense of hopelessness. Yet, amidst the conflict, life goes on. Children play, families gather, and people continue to hope for a better future. The international community continues to seek solutions, but lasting peace remains elusive. Despite the challenges, moments of unity and cooperation offer a glimmer of hope that one day peace may prevail. Egypt's military deployment is its most assertive move in years. This significant show of force is a clear indication of the country's readiness to take decisive action when necessary. The scale and intensity of these drills are unprecedented, showcasing the full might of Egypt's armed forces. It is a clear departure from its previous stance of cautious diplomacy. For years, Egypt has relied on diplomatic channels to address regional issues, often opting for negotiation and dialogue over military intervention. This shift marks a new chapter in Egypt's foreign policy. The presence of troops and heavy weaponry sends a powerful message. It signals to both allies and adversaries that Egypt is prepared to defend its interests with force if necessary. The deployment is not just a show of strength but a strategic maneuver to ensure regional stability. Egypt is willing to defend its interests. The heightened state of alert among the troops underscores the seriousness of the situation. The soldiers are well prepared and ready to respond to any threats that may arise. The move is partly driven by security concerns. The volatile situation in neighboring regions has heightened the need for increased vigilance. Egypt's borders are under constant surveillance to prevent any potential threats from spilling over. Egypt fears the spillover of violence across its borders. The ongoing conflicts in nearby countries pose a significant risk to Egypt's national security. The government is taking proactive measures to safeguard its territory and citizens. It also wants to prevent the infiltration of militants. The threat of extremist groups attempting to cross into Egypt is a constant concern. Rigorous inspections and security protocols are in place to thwart any such attempts. The Sinai Peninsula, which borders Gaza, has been grappling with its own insurgency. The region has seen numerous clashes between Egyptian forces and militant groups. The military presence here is crucial to maintaining control and stability. Beyond security, Egypt is also motivated by strategic considerations. The country's geographical location makes it a key player in the Middle East. Maintaining a strong military presence is essential for Egypt to assert its influence in the region. It wants to maintain its role as a key mediator in the region. Egypt has historically played a pivotal role in brokering peace deals and mediating conflicts. This military show of force reinforces its position as a central figure in regional diplomacy. It also aims to bolster its standing in the Arab world. By demonstrating its military capabilities, Egypt seeks to reaffirm its leadership and influence among Arab nations. This move is as much about regional politics as it is about security. Public opinion in Egypt is firmly against Israel's actions. The government's military deployment is also a response to domestic pressures. The Egyptian populace has been vocal in its opposition to Israeli policies, and the government is keen to align its actions with public sentiment. The deployment should be seen as a warning to both sides. It serves as a reminder that Egypt is a formidable force in the region. The military parade is not just for show, it is a clear signal to all parties involved that Egypt is ready to act if necessary. It is a call for restraint and de-escalation. While the show of force is evident, Egypt also emphasizes the importance of diplomatic solutions. The government urges all parties to seek peaceful resolutions and avoid further escalation. However, it is also a clear message to Israel. Egypt will not tolerate any actions that threaten its security or the stability of the region. The presence of troops at the border is a stark reminder of Egypt's readiness to defend its interests. Egypt will not stand idly by if it perceives a threat to its security or regional stability. The country is prepared to take decisive action to protect its sovereignty and maintain peace in the region. This show of force is a testament to Egypt's commitment to its national security and regional influence. Israel's recent actions in Gaza are part of a broader strategy. It aims to maintain security control over the territory. It also seeks to weaken Hamas. However, this approach carries significant risks. It could further inflame tensions with Egypt. The seizure of the Rafah crossing is a case in point. Israel argues that it is necessary to prevent the smuggling of weapons. However, the closure has severely restricted the flow of essential goods. This has worsened the humanitarian situation in Gaza. Israel's military operations in Rafah itself have also caused significant destruction. They have resulted in civilian casualties. This has drawn international condemnation. It has also fueled anger within Egypt. Israel is walking a tightrope. It is trying to balance its security concerns with the need to avoid a wider conflict. However, its actions risk backfiring. They could lead to a regional escalation that nobody wants. Section 5. A diplomatic tightrope. Egypt and Israel at odds. The crisis has strained relations between Egypt and Israel. The two countries have a long and complex history. They fought several wars. However, they signed a peace treaty in 1979. Despite the treaty, relations have often been strained. Egypt has criticized Israel's treatment of the Palestinians. It has also been critical of Israel's settlement policies in the West Bank. However, the two countries have maintained security cooperation. The current situation is different. Egypt has recalled its ambassador from Israel. It is also considering downgrading diplomatic ties. This reflects the depth of its anger over Israel's actions. Both sides are now engaged in a delicate diplomatic dance. They are trying to avoid a complete rupture. However, the trust deficit is significant. Finding a way back to a more cooperative relationship will be difficult. Section 6. Gaza's suffering. A humanitarian crisis unfolds. The conflict has had a devastating impact on the people of Gaza. The territory was already facing a dire humanitarian situation. The recent violence has made things much worse. The closure of the Rafah crossing has choked off the flow of essential supplies. Food, medicine, and fuel are running low. Hospitals are struggling to cope. The UN has warned of a catastrophic situation. The violence itself has caused widespread displacement. Thousands of people have been forced to flee their homes. Many are seeking shelter in UN-run schools. These are already overcrowded and undersupplied. The international community has pledged aid. However, getting it to those in need is a major challenge. The lack of access and the ongoing insecurity are major obstacles. The humanitarian crisis in Gaza is a stain on the conscience of the world. Section 7. Regional shockwaves, Somalia, Ethiopia, and a shifting balance. The crisis is also sending ripples across the wider region. Countries like Somalia and Ethiopia are watching closely. They have their own security concerns. They also have complex relationships with both Egypt and Israel. Somalia, for example, is grappling with the threat of al-Shabaab. This is a militant group linked to al-Qaeda. Egypt has provided military aid to Somalia. It has also supported its government. Ethiopia, on the other hand, has close ties to Israel. It sees Israel as a strategic ally. This is partly due to their shared security concerns. Ethiopia is wary of Egypt's influence in the region. The crisis has the potential to upset this delicate balance. If Egypt were to take a more assertive stance against Israel, it could push Ethiopia closer to Israel. This could further polarize the region. Section 8. The stakes are high, seeking a path to peace. The situation on the Egypt-Israel border is volatile. The stakes are high. The risk of a wider conflict is real. The international community must act urgently to prevent further escalation. The immediate priority is to secure a ceasefire. This will require pressure on both Israel and Hamas. It will also require Egypt to use its influence. The Rafah crossing must be reopened. Humanitarian aid must be allowed to flow. Beyond the immediate crisis, a lasting solution is needed. This will require addressing the root causes of the conflict. It will require negotiations between Israel and the Palestinians. It will also require regional and international support. A just and lasting peace is the only way to ensure security and stability for all. The alternative is a cycle of violence and suffering that will benefit no one. The world must not stand by and let this happen.